Good day, everyone. For this day, we're going to discuss the topic for grade 9 students, specifically into the field of music. This covers different era or period of music, but as of the moment, we will focus our discussion into the medieval period. Medieval period, or sometimes called as Middle Ages, these terms can be used to address the same era or period of time. Whether you're comfortable using the term of Middle Age or medieval period, it will be the same. Let's discuss what really happened into this period. This era focuses into the European countries, which includes France, UK, and many more. This period suffers from Black Death, or sometimes it's called as flag. Once we said flag, it is a form of disease that spread into the community. Or in layman's term, that is what we call epidemia. These diseases or these plagues kills millions of people, and people suffers from agony and fear because of these diseases. On the other hand, from the diseases, they experience also a lot of things in this particular time. The fall or the end of the Roman Empire is the beginning of this era. During that time, Romans are very evident in terms of war. Even they suffers from Black Death or plague or wars, it does not hinder the composers to compose or to have a music in their daily lives, into their community. So without further ado, let's discuss what is the music and the characteristic of this era. So let's have their music into this particular period of time. The music that was created by that period is not like the music we have from this day. During that time, they composed music but for the sake and honors of the church. This is to glorify religious activities. And also in this time, some composers were not able to get credits into their composition. And that is the sad thing for them, because they cannot brag their composition. This also render, or their composition also serve as the composition for the church. Sad to say, their composition was not able to preserve because during that time, the parchment paper is very expensive and the wealthy people are the only one who preserve their music. So therefore, their music was addressed or was designed for the field of glorifying or for the field of devotion into the church. So that is their music during that time. Aside from the church music or religious music, their music was also composed or enjoyed by noblemen. These are the people who has the power and rank or officials into the community. During that time, their government was ruled by monarchs. Noblemen were very evident into that time. So once we said monarchs, that is the government which is led by the king and queens. Aside from noblemen, the music also enjoyed by the knights or yung mga tinatawag nating warriors. Knights has a notable job into the community during that time. Since they suffer from war and chaos, they respect and values knights into that period. Mataas yung tingin nila sa mga knights during that time. And last but not the least, aside from noblemen and knights, is the priest. Since musical forms during that time or during that era is used for sacred practices or church practices, music's also enjoyed by the priests, and they use this music to spread the word of God. These are the three officials or form of people into the community that enjoyed music during that time. With this, we can say that discrimination also happened on that period. The highly ranked official has the only one who can enjoy everything. But on the other hand, commoners have also enjoyed their own music, which will be discussed later. But during that time, discrimination is very evident. So these are the people who enjoyed music. During the medieval period or Middle Ages, This period has this kind of invention which called as the Gregorian Chant. The word Gregorian derived from the name of Pope Gregory the First. Meanwhile, the chant is the one that being described into the usage of song for the church. So therefore, Gregorian chant was named after Pope Gregory. Lastly, we should be thankful for this invention of Middle Ages or medieval period because without Gregorian chant, we might not have this kind of system in music. This is the start of system into the field of music, the Gregorian chant. And we will discuss what are these characteristics that is included into this. Actually, in Gregorian chant, they use this kind of neumes. And this neumes is written in four layer of stop or four line of stop. So ano ba yung stop? In Tagalog, that is limguhit. Doon natin isinusulat yung mga nota or yung mga notes natin. But definitely, Gregorian chant used four lines on that particular period of time. Pero ngayon, since nag-evolve na, ginagamit natin yung five lines na or yung tinatawag nating stop. So, what is neumes? Neumes is actually a feature of Gregorian chant that can be compared into the notes. Those square or boxes that you see into the slide is the form of neumes. So, ayan yung mga nota during that time. Neumes will tell the singers or the people if the tone will go up or down. It will serve as the signage for the people who will sing the music for church kung tataas ba or bababa yung tono nila as a singer. So that is a neumes. So because of this Gregorian chant and neumes, it is of system into the field of music. So again, we should be thankful because of Gregorian chant. Aside from the neumes, which is the featured or characteristic of the Gregorian chant, we also have different characteristic of this music. The first, or the second rather, the second characteristic is this Gregorian chant serve as the official music of church. So once we said official music of church, this music used for their devotion or for glorifying God, and that is also help the people to give their thanks by means of music in every blessing that they receive. So therefore, that is one of the characteristic of Gregorian chant. Aside from that, this music also use sacred texts. Once we said sacred text, it use holy words or different kinds of words that is described to glorify and to devote our God. So therefore, ito yung mga papuri, ito yung mga different kinds of pag-aalay, so on and so forth. So, mostly holy words yung mga ginagamit nila like Alleluia, Ave Maria, so on and so forth. And last but not the least, this use Latin or Latin text, Latin language. So those are the different characteristics of Gregorian chant. So for this moment, I will let you to listen a single composition of Gregorian chant for you to visualize what is really meant for Gregorian chant. So this is the example of Gregorian chant. You will notice the ups and downs of the music, its holiness, the way they give their glorifying our God, and the solemnity of the music. So that is very evident into the Gregorian chant. This also serve as their music for church, as I mentioned a while ago. So again, that is Gregorian chant. So let's continue the characteristic of Gregorian chant. Aside from sacred texts, aside from it used from churches, so on and so forth, they also have this kind of free meter. Once we said free meter, medieval period or Middle Ages period has no rhythm structure. Sometimes you will notice na iba-iba yung cut ng music nila. Sometimes may mabilis, may mabagal, or may konti, may madami, so on and so forth. Kasi nga, during that time, they have this kind of free meter. Unlike today, mabilis nating ma-identify or ma-memorize yung song because of the measurement or the meter. But then again, into the Gregorian chant, they don't have this kind of meter. Now, aside from meter, they also use monophony. Once we said monophonic or monophony, their music consists of single structure, meaning the singer is or the music consists of single voice in a single melody or single sound that we'll hear throughout the song. And that is what we call monophony. So for we to visualize, I prepare an example for this discussion. So let's listen to the music for we to identify the monophony that used by the Gregorian chant.
Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother
So
John, Brother John. Morning bells are ringing, morning bells are ringing.
That
Ding
is
dong ding,
monophony again.
ding dong ding.
So once we said monophony, even that we use large number of voices or individuals or singers, they have this kind of one melody that being sung all throughout the song. Sabay-sabay sila at iisa lang yung melody na maririnig mo. That is monophony. So they use this kind of strategy in their Gregorian chant. So that is the end of the Gregorian chant. Meanwhile, as I mentioned a while ago, there is some discrimination between the commoners and the noblemen because of music. But on the latter part of this period, the secular music was also published into this era. Once we said secular music, these are the music that is not bound into religious or tradition. Yung Gregorian chant kasi, they are the music that used for glorifying our God or glorifying the words of God. Meanwhile, itong secular music naman is for entertainment for the commoners or for the people around the community. And of course, in secular music, they have this kind of troubadours. Once we said troubadours, it is a form of performer ng secular music. So therefore, ayun yung tawag dun sa mga nagpa-perform or gumagawa or gumagamit ng secular music. Ang mga troubadours. They are the performance of secular music. So for these slides, let's have the characteristic of Troubadour's music. Actually, Troubadour and Gregorian chant is the same in terms of texture. They use this kind of monophony, or once we said monophony again, it is a form of one melody in the song. So that is monophony that I discussed a while ago. They also have this kind of chivalry and court love. So if we will compare and contrast the genre of music, the Gregorian chant is very religious in terms of music. Meanwhile, the troubadour music is into the field of chivalry and court love. So what do we mean by this one? Once we said chivalry, this is the act of the knights, yung mga warriors, for their devotion into the church. So, meron pa rin church, pero mostly, ito yung mga devotion ng mga knights or ng mga crusaders during that time. Meaning, they will remain loyal into the words of God. That is one of their genre of troubadour music. On the other hand, the court love is also a form of genre into the troubadour music. So once we talk about court love, it is a form of romantic relationship of knights, yung mga warriors, for a girl or for a noble woman. Sometimes court love also addressed as a forbidden love. So yon, medyo yun yung masalimuot na genre nitong troubadour music. Forbidden love siya or yung ipinagbabawal na pag-ibig. This court love also signifies the relationship of someone out of marriage, means my other half or kabet. Kaya nga tinawag na forbidden love. So that is the genre of the troubadour music. Again, unlike Gregorian chant, the genre they use is the religious music. So that is the difference between Gregorian chant and the troubadour music. On the other hand, the troubadour music, they have this kind of accompaniment or musical instrument. Sometimes you will notice troubadour musicians use or carries their instruments. So, ayun yung pansaliw nila in terms of their music. So, unlike Gregorian chant, mostly pure voices lang yung maririnig nyo sa Gregorian chant. Meanwhile, in troubadour music, they use this kind of musical instrument para more on entertaining dun sa mga nakikinig. And this was originated in France. And since it was originated in France, they also use this kind of language that used in France. So that is a form of characteristic in troubadour music. As I mentioned a while ago, the composers during that time cannot brag their composition. It means sometimes hindi nila kayang ipagmalaki dahil nga during that time, their composition is obliged to render into the field of religious activity. But then again, meron pa ring mga ilang composers na nakilala during that time, and this is Adam de la Hill. So, Adam de la Hill was destined to be in church, but he married into a girl. So therefore, some critics medyo na-disappoint kasi nga they're expecting na si Adam de la Hill is magko-compose for the church. On the other hand, because of love or court love and passion for the relationship, he composed troubadours music. He used chanson and poetic debate into his composition. Once we said chanson, this kind of music is a French music. So that is a form of music that was used by De La Hill or Adam. Once we talk about naman poetic debate, it uses constructing values and principle. It's like you're debating into a music. That is his strategy as a composer. Parang may nagtatalo in terms of music. Ano ba yung tama, ano yung mali, ano yung proper and not proper into the community. Mostly kasi dito, tinitingnan din kung ano yung nangyayari sa community. And that is a form of composition ni Adam de la Hill. And last but not the least, he used polyphony. The polyphony is connected in monophony. That was discussed a while ago. But this is the difference between the two. I will let you to listen into my example for you to get the idea of polyphony.
Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping?
Same music.
Brother John.
But
Morning bells are ringing, morning bells are ringing, Brother John,
you will
Brother
hear
John,
different
morning bells are ringing, morning bells are ringing, Brother John, Brother John, morning.
So that is the difference between polyphony and monophony. So in polyphony, even that they have this kind of the same melody, you will notice the staggered melody. Meron siyang sumasaliw na iba na hindi kasabay ng ibang melody. So even that they use the same melody, hindi pa rin sabay yung melody nila. So minsan makikita natin to dun sa mga duets na iba yung makikita nila or maririnig na songs. So that is what we call polyphony. So again, that is the form of medieval period. I hope I've helped you for this topic. Thank you and God bless.